Welcome to the next presentation in the slot for Evolving Landscape of AI in Policing. I'm Melissa Hamilton. I'm a professor of law and criminal justice at the University of Surrey. I'm also an AI fellow with the Surrey Institute on People-Centered AI. I'm quite interested in the subject matter, being a former police officer myself, and therefore I'm fascinated to see what kind of potential benefits AI technologies can bring to law enforcement processes as well as outcomes. I intend to discuss today relatively briefly three particular aspects of AI in law enforcement involving facial recognition, risk assessment, and then robotics in policing. From an overall perspective, potential benefits and uses for these AI technologies are to improve public safety, improve efficiencies, and perhaps to manage risks. Let us begin with facial recognition. Law enforcement can use facial recognition technologies to rapidly match suspects or victims to databases of photos or video evidence. Might assist in locating missing or abducted individuals by comparing their images against relevant databases. Another one is facial recognition can be useful in a range of security contexts to oversee and control entry to restricted areas, such as ensuring that entry is granted only to authorized individuals, or perhaps in the opposite direction, to prevent certain people from accessing designated off-limits locations, such as those persons who are subject to exclusion orders. Potential benefits. Facial recognition can enable the quick recognition and verification of individual identities, can help accelerate criminal investigations by identifying suspects or victims more rapidly than manual methods would be able to do. Technologies can minimize mistakes in identity verification when performed by humans, hence offering a more reliable and accurate method than traditional identification processes. In terms of the future, I see leveraging extensive data sets from more diverse sources, such as from social media, private and public surveillance systems, using data held by governments, such as driver's license and passport identifications, maybe even healthcare records. Overall, increasing the size of available data sets can improve the accuracy and expand the scope and abilities of facial recognition technologies. There's potential of merging facial recognition software with algorithms that can help predict how faces age over time, therefore aiding in long-term investigations, such as identifying a person today based on a 20, maybe 30-year-old photograph. It is noted that these technological advancements can raise significant privacy issues. There's also potential risks associated with misuse, such as using facial recognition to target political opponents or identify individuals in witness protection for malicious purposes. The next subject I wanted to address is the use of algorithmic risk assessment tools. This means the use of statistical models to predict the likelihood of committing future crime using factors that scientific studies show are predictive of offending, such as criminal history or certain sociodemographic characteristics. The algorithm means that these factors are weighted differently depending on how predictive they are. In other words, some factors are simply more highly predictive than others, and therefore they're weighted in the algorithm more heavily. Studies, for instance, pretty consistently indicate that young age and an extensive criminal history are highly salient in predicting repeat crime, and therefore they tend to be heavily weighted factors in these algorithms. The outcomes from these tools are often conveyed in a manner such as grouping individuals into low, medium, or high-risk groups. Risk assessment tools and their outcomes can track an individual through their lifespan in the criminal justice system, as indicated in the top right corner. For instance, there are some algorithmic risk tools that assist law enforcement when responding to domestic violence calls in terms of predicting whether the identified suspect or the victim might be likely to be either perpetrating domestic abuse or being victims of domestic abuse. And thus, the particular tool outcome may be one of the pieces of information that the officer uses in determining whether to make an arrest at that time. These tools are used in a pretrial context as to whether judges will release individuals pending their trials. Maybe used at sentencing as a piece of information when the fact finder determines whether to, for example, sentence a person to a period that involves incarceration. It may also inform as to the length of a sentence, whether it be probation or a prison term. They're used in prison classifications as to whether the individual, for instance, is designated as a low security, medium security, or high security classification. And then risk assessment tools are also used on what we call the back end. That is, for example, in determining whether to release a person from prison early, or in other decisions regarding supervision in the community. Some of the benefits of the use of algorithmic risk tools are to automate and streamline the assessment process, thereby enabling faster decision making and potentially better resource allocation. The tools can offer greater uniformity in risk assessments across similar scenarios or cases, thereby reducing variability that can occur when humans are judging potential future risk. The tools can minimize the likelihood of mistakes and biases that can occur also when humans make such predictions, thereby leading to more reliable and objective assessments. In terms of the future, I see the potential for utilizing big data sets from social media platforms, perhaps electronic health records, in order to gain insights into individual behaviors and trends to enhance predictive accuracy. I envision the application of advanced network analysis techniques to understand complex relationships and interactions between people, such as identifying who might be in a criminal gang, mapping out a trafficking network, or making other connections between perpetrators and their victims. There's also the possibility of integrating biophysiological data to inform risk assessments regarding relevant, either near-term or long-term, emotional and behavioral states. For example, the use of information about heart rate variability, hormone levels, genetic information, or brain imaging. To illustrate, some of these indicators can be predictive of imminent criminal behavior, such as triggers to stress responses, reductions in impulse control, or increased aggression. Or these particular biophysiological factors may be indicative of more stable risk states, such as evidence of certain types of brain damage being associated with violent tendencies. The third aspect is the use of robotics. As an example, what you're seeing there is an image of a mobile sentry and alert system. These can be equipped with scanning, recording, and speaking devices. This kind of robotic device can expand police resources to provide information to the public as part of community engagement efforts. For instance, this kind of a robotic can interact with the public when a citizen, for example, asks for directions or requires assistance in filing a police report. Just using and deploying the robotic devices themselves can be a deterrent to crime if at least they are perceived by citizens as being devices that are monitoring or recording them. The robotics can be used as real-time alert systems, for example, by using mobile cameras and other sensors to instantly notify law enforcement authorities about suspicious activities or potentially crimes in progress. The devices can issue alerts related to either individuals or groups who are of interest, or to detect and report on signs of emerging situations, such as crowds gathering or violence erupting. Other types of crime detection are possible by deploying robotics with image detection and scanning software that can identify the presence in the area of weapons, such as knives or guns, or potentially evidence of illegal drug trafficking. As well, we can merge this one with the prior technology, such as robotic devices being equipped with facial recognition technology. In terms of future use, there is the possibility of weaponizing robotic devices to neutralize dangerous subjects. That type of use of robotics has been deployed in certain individual instances in the US law enforcement context, although not necessarily in a systematic way. For instance, there have been cases of law enforcement arming robots to approach barricaded suspects in order to neutralize them as targets to protect both police officers themselves as well as the public, such as arming robots with explosives that are then remotely detonated. It is true that robotics can be used as mass surveillance devices, although in ways potentially not necessarily recognized by the public. Therefore, robotics can be a tool for widespread surveillance and recording without the public necessarily being aware upon potential intrusions on their privacy interests. So those are just 3 types of AI uses. Then some notes on how to improve public confidence in the use of AI technologies in law enforcement. Official guidelines and formula regulations can help build confidence that these technologies are being deployed in a less black box way, and that appropriate officials are playing leadership roles in fostering ethical policing models. Guidelines must address privacy concerns head on, for example, by limiting the scope of data collection and use as necessary, implementing strict data handling protocols, and providing for data anonymization at least where possible. Privacy laws should be adopted to address the unique challenges posed by AI, such as those mentioned in terms of the potential for mass surveillance or misuse of personal data. Balancing means allowing us to harness the benefits of AI to law enforcement efforts to better protect the public, while also trying to mitigate negative consequences. Transparency in AI operations can help demystify AI decision-making processes for the public. Clear, accessible explanation of how AI tools are used, the data they process, and the rationale behind their decisions are all essential. Openness is crucial for transparency, as well as allowing for testing of models by independent experts. AI models can inadvertently perpetuate or amplify biases present in their training data, which can lead to unfair outcomes. Therefore, establishing regulations that mandate such things as regular auditing, transparent reporting of AI performance across different demographic groups in terms of their accuracy rates, and implementing corrective measures as necessary are all vital measures to ensure fairness and equity in the use of AI applications. It's also true that engaging the public and stakeholders in both the development and deployment of AI policies can help ensure that diverse perspectives are considered, and inclusivity in policy formation can help address a wide range of concerns and build broader consensus and trust. Finally, establishing clear lines of accountability for AI's decisions in law enforcement, including mechanisms for human oversight, is critical. Regulations should ensure that there are human checks on AI decisions, particularly in high-stakes situations, and that there are avenues for redress for individuals adversely affected by decisions and actions that are informed by AI. Thank you.